DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is time to talk college football. Matt Murschel joins us, UCF and college football writer for the Orlando Sentinel. Matt, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing today?
We are doing well. How are the UCF Knights and you doing? And is it the same, or is it different?
I think they're doing well. I mean, they just wrapped up spring camp a little later than normal, but they had a pretty good camp. They brought in 41 newcomers in year two of Scott Frost, and they think they've got a pretty good group here now. You know, now that Scott's had another year under his belt, they feel like they've brought in enough experience and talent that they can help them maybe make that jump up into being bowl eligible from where they were last year.
Yeah, I went and listened to his post-spring wrap, and he was talking about how just more comfortable second year, and it makes sense that he would have more comfortability going into his second stint, second year. And you talk about those 41 transfers, and I'm thinking that's probably led by the quarterback from James Madison, Barnett, who was the Sun Belt Player of the Year, 2-year starter. Some decent stats, 58% on the completion, but ran for almost 600 yards. I assume he didn't follow Chesney to UCLA because they already have a quarterback established there for the Bruins, and so Barnett decides to go south to UCF. I know he was limited in spring, and Frost was talking about watching him throw, but how much of the success is going to be riding on his ability to be successful this season?
Yeah, I think a lot of it. You know, you look at the fact that he's their cornerstone piece to this transfer portal class. You know, he was the guy that they brought in early on, and they figured that would help them kind of start to add some pieces around him. Because once you've got a talented quarterback in, it's easier to convince receivers and running backs and offensive linemen, you know, to kind of sign with your team because you know, you've got a guy now who's in place and who's been to the college football playoff last year. He fits in well what UCF wants to do offensively. He can throw the football, but he's also got mobility, which allows him to, like, you know, get out of the pocket and make some plays. And the stability at quarterback is something that UCF really needed to focus on in the offseason because you look at what happened last year. They had 4 different quarterbacks who basically, you know, saw time on the field. The year before that, they had 4 different quarterbacks who saw time on the field. They need to get that stability. They need to get the number one guy out there playing the majority of the snaps. And that way, I think that would help the offense, you know, kind of do more than they would expect them to.
Wide receiver Josh Derry transfers in from Monmouth. How much faith do they have? Undersized, I get why he wasn't recruited heavily. He's 5'9", 182 pounds listed at. Has he proved enough, and how did he look in spring ball? Does he match up against bigger players?
Oh, yeah. He's done an amazing job in spring ball. I think every player we've spoken with has talked about Josh Derry and his abilities, you know, to make plays, to get separation from defender. You know, he's a guy that, like you said, he has a little undersized, but has found a way to still, you know, make those kind of plays. He has a playmaking ability. And then there's his work ethic. You know, this is the guy that comes into UCF. He's every morning at 6 a.m. He's in the practice field, you know, working out. And that kind of mentality has started to carry over to younger players, to other receivers on the team. Now they're joining him at 6 a.m., you know, trying to continue to go out there and work hard and try to find a way to get better. And that's something that you want. So they feel like Derry's going to be a big piece of what they're going to do. I mean, Dwayne Thomas Jr. is still the number one guy, and Wade Charles is going to be number 2. But I think Josh Derry is that third, you know, slot receiver guy who can really kind of maybe, you know, be impressive at times and really help them kind of, you know, spread open the field a little bit more.
Well, Dwayne Thomas is a small guy, too. I think he's only like 5'8", but I've had enough of the small guys. I want to talk about the big guys. And you want to talk about the big guys for the UCF team. It starts, and I can almost argue it ends, with Horace Lockett, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Horace Lockett's a big part of what they want to do defensively. He's the guy that steps in the tackle spot. He was banged up last year and didn't get to play most of the season. But he's a guy that they really believe can be the heart and soul of that, defensive line, especially when you think about the fact that Malachi Lawrence and Nigel Kelly, your two ends, are gone to the NFL. You need a guy to step up and be the man. And he flirted with the transfer portal during the offseason, and there was some thought that he might leave, but he decided to come back, and it's a big part of what they want to do at the line. They brought in a lot of transfers. They got a few players that they think are going to come back and be contributors, but Horace is going to be the guy in the middle, I think, that's going to be able to give them that push up front, because they need to continue to carry and try to get takeaways and try to be disruptive in the backfield, and I think he's going to be a big part of that.
On college football's all-name team, I expect to find Sincere Edwards. However, he did not get to practice. There were a lot of guys held out. How are all these guys going to be back? Is Sincere going to be back? Because I love that name. And how big an impact are these guys? And if they're not there, how big a problem is it? Because the list, I'm reading a spring football story here, the list of guys held out is pretty long.
Yeah, I think some of that, these guys are expected to be back. I think some of that is, these guys were banged up coming off of last year and just needed time to get themselves back into the swing of things. Scott Frost made a really good kind of point about saying these are financial investments now. We've made investments into these players, and we can't just go throw them out there and something happens and they get banged up or hurt. Now we've lost on that investment. So I think, that's kind of the mentality they've had is yeah, sure, spring is important, but some of these guys, this is year 2, year 3, or whatever with the program, and, it's a chance for them to maybe rest up a little bit. They've had a lot of snaps over their careers, and it's a chance just to kind of get them rested up and get them up to speed. I think more importantly for them, it's just building that chemistry, building, what they're trying to build there with the culture. And a lot of the players we spoke with that's been a big part of that. These guys have really kind of bonded and feel like this is a good, close group.
Bringing back Lewis Carter, linebacker, leading tackler. We talked about Horace Lockett, 6'6", 355 up the middle there. I think at the linebacker spot, you'd point to Carter as being an impact player.
Yeah, Carter's another big piece of their defense bringing back. He's a guy that really, was the general out on the field, during the defense. And so he's a guy that they expect to continue to play that role. They brought some pieces around him through the transfer portal that's going to help him out. They've got a secondary that's got a lot of experience returning, a lot of returners coming back. So the secondary is going to be strong, but they need to get the middle of that defense to be just as tough as the rest of it, because they're going to have to find a way to slow down Big 12 teams. And that's something that they struggle with at times. That they would get behind and then they'd have to find a way to kind of catch up. And that's not really what this team is kind of designed for. So they need guys like Carter to continue to grow and evolve. And I think that was a huge addition in the offseason. That was someone that basically they could keep having come back.
When Frost was there the first time, the pitch was, hey, this is a program that's rising. There's so much talent in Florida. Some of these guys are going to want to stay home or close to home and play, and it worked. But now it's all about NIL. Is the vibe completely different? Are the challenges? Is it almost like even though he has his old job back, he's got a brand new job?
Well, yeah, for sure. I think that was the biggest challenge that Frost faced last year was, last time he had been a head coach, transfer portal was nowhere near as competitive as it was now. And NIL wasn't nearly as bad as it was now. And neither was revenue share. So he was trying to deal with that on the fly and figure out how to get these guys to come back and want to be a part of something. He tells the story that, the moment that he gave his introductory press conference, he leaves the stage and he goes to his office, and there's 2 kids standing outside with their agents and basically asking him for more money. And Scott said, I don't even know who these guys were. I didn't even look at the roster to that point. It had been like, and you got guys already demanding more money. So I think they've done a good job in the offseason. They added a general manager in Trent Mossberger. And they've added, a couple other pieces to where they've kind of built a system in place now that'll help with the NIL, with, revenue sharing, those kind of situations. So, they can kind of be competitive and try to get the kind of players they need to get and fit the needs that they really need to have.
They got a pretty good tight end in Dylan Wade. I think he led the team in terms of touchdown receptions. Probably needs some more, but you can argue that he has the potential to be the leading receiver, and he's a really good player.
Yeah, Dylan Wade's going to be a big part of what they do offensively. He was the guy that they were really, when the offseason, when they were looking to try to keep some guys, we talked about Horace Lockett, but Dylan Wade was one of them. Dwayne Thomas was one of them. And to convince those guys to come back for another year, to be able to play, I think that's huge for them. They needed a safety valve, and I think Dylan kind of stepped into a larger role last year, and they feel like he's a guy that can really, he could be that X factor on the offense, and the guy that they can really rely on when maybe things, break down or you need a first down on, a 3rd and 6. He's a guy that he can go out there and make that play. And I think that's going to be crucial for them. So Dylan is a guy that I think they feel like is a big part of if they're going to have any success this season, he needs to be around.
Frost said that other than defensive end, they're pretty clearly better at every spot. And you see the 5 wins last year, they held opponents to 14 points or less. And in 5 of the losses, they gave up 30 points or more. They lost a couple games in the 20s as well. Do you see the defense as better, and is there an impact guy who's going to make the game easier for everybody else?
Yeah, I think the defense has gotten better. I think that was been the thing that they really wanted to do. They wanted to add some pieces that they felt like could really maybe help take them to the next level. And I think that's something that they're going to need, especially on the road where they really struggled. They needed guys to really step up and make plays. And I think, where they're going to really kind of have some help is, that edge spot. I think they're going to really need some guys to step up there. Isaiah Nixon's a guy that's been around for 4 years. He's going to probably step up in that role left by Malachi Lawrence. And you mentioned Sincere Edwards. I think he's another guy that's going to step up. Ty Bartram is a name that I don't think a lot of people will recognize, but a guy from Harvard who was a captain last year that has just really kind of caught everyone, the coach's eyes, and they really think he's the guy that's going to be a big-time playmaker. He's a safety for them. That's also kind of the captain of the special teams and, really has kind of assumed that leadership role as well. And I think he's a guy that can be someone that could really step up and make some plays. And then, there's some other guys that they feel like that could step up and really be the contributors. But most of those guys, I think, are coming back.
You talk about how it's different the second time around for Frost. I would argue that the biggest difference, NIL is huge for everybody, but for this particular program, it's being in the Big 12.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a big jump from going to the American to the Big 12. And Scott's had experience, obviously. He was in the Big 10 with Nebraska and understood, as a coach, kind of the challenges of playing tougher teams. But I think where that comes into more effect is, as I mentioned, is the road games. It's being on the road, going to venues, trying to find, ways to win games on the road when things are tough. And that's something that they've really struggled with, not just under Frost, but under Gus Malzahn, the previous, leadership. They struggled at times on the road. And if they can find a way to win some of those road games, I think they have a better opportunity to try to be a contender in the Big 12. But you can't go on the road and just, look like a totally different team. They've done that a couple times last year where they come off a big win and then they go on the road and look like they just forgotten every way to win. So I think that's going to be the challenge for them is trying to find ways to make sure they can be competitive on the road and win some of those games away from Orlando.
Is bowl eligibility the goal? Is that it? Do they need to compete in the conference because some people have written big checks? What is the goal for Scott Frost this year?
Yeah, I think for sure they need to be bowl eligible would be a huge step for them. I think if they could get to 7 wins, 7 or 8 wins, that would be big. Now, every player we spoke with obviously is telling us they want to win the Big 12 championship. But it's not likely. I mean, it just depends on if this team can bond. I think they've got to take steps, and I think the next step is to be bowl eligible, get to 7 or 8 wins, and then you can kind of see where you can kind of build some momentum off that. If they don't do that, if they struggle, if they, finish 5 and 7 again or worse, I think then the pressure starts to mount a little bit for Scott because, it's the idea that, listen, yes, you had lightning, you caught lightning in a bottle, so to speak, when you won in 2017, but you're going to have to find a way to do that now. And you got to find a way to be better at it. And he's got the tools now. There shouldn't be any reason why they can't.
Well, man, we appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for joining us, and we will keep our eye on UCF.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Matt Murschel joining us, UCF and college football writer for the Orlando Sentinel. BYU is at UCF October 24th. Utah and Texas Tech miss UCF, so Houston is their big road game. They're largely playing teams who were in the bottom of the league last year. Some of those teams might bounce back, but the door is open for those guys.
It's flung right open. Everybody thinking bowl eligibility. I can remember being down in Vegas at the Mountain West Conference Media in the time where the Mexico Lobos were just awful, and I think they were 1-11, and me and Ben Bagley were doing the show, and right to our left was the New Mexico people. Mm-hmm. You would have thought it was a friggin' Ohio State, man.
Every time you take your headsets off and listen, they're just pumping them up, man. Here come the Lobos, look out.
Oh, bowl eligibility, they're a contender. Guys, man, no.
UCF went 3-0 in non-conference last year, then 2-7 in the league and missed the bowl eligible. And one of their 2 wins was Oklahoma State, which was obviously a complete disaster. And they get to play Oklahoma State for one of their 4 road games. Yeah, but
Oklahoma State has gotten a huge influx of transfers.
Of North Texas guys.
And a lot of programs, including the Hammer, has picked them in the top half of the conference.
To be bowl eligible.
The Hammer.
The Hammer. That's PK's nickname for John Wilner at the San Jose Mercury News, if you're not following along.
Well, right, for KSL.com. What do you mean the San Jose Mercury News?
I believe it is.
KSL.com.
It is syndicated
That's
here.
Nobody cares that he writes for San Jose. It's KSL.com.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That's where he writes. We're localizing it. And they pick it up. But the Hammer's high on Oklahoma State.
Right.
Yeah.
They brought in a coach from North Texas and a lot of players.
And their quarterback,
Texas had a good team.
They're looking at him as an NFL guy. So that there's been other teams that have had dramatic turnarounds. So I wouldn't look at Oklahoma State as some patsy as they have been the last couple of years, bizarrely.
Should be time for a bounce back.
Yeah.
All right, DJ and PK, we got to take a break. Bob Casper is coming up next to talk PGA Championship. We will do our draft. And speaking of the PGA Championship, caller 12 at 801-575-ZONE will be assigned a golfer in the PGA Championship this week. We're assigning listeners one of the top 25 players in the world, and one listener will be assigned the field. The winner will receive a Copper Rock logo golf bag and a $100 gas gift card. Call now. Caller 12 will be assigned a golfer. It's all brought to you by Copper Rock, where the pros play. Bob Casper is next. Kristen Peak at 9 o'clock. From NBA.com and Hoops HQ contributor, and she'll be talking NBA draft and AJ Dybantsa. Stay with us. DJ and PK brought to you in part by Sound Sleep Medical. Get a free sleep screening and consultation when Scotty G and the coach broadcast live from Sound Sleep tomorrow. Visit Sound Sleep Medical with 6 convenient locations across Utah and start sleeping better today. Free screening and consultation. Okay. Thanks for that.
You told me to sleep better. Listening to what you tell me.
You do need to work on that. All right, DJ and PK, it is time to talk PGA Championship with Bob Casper.
The PGA Championship Update is presented by Copper Rock, where the pros play, on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Bob, good morning.
Hello, boys. How you doing?
We're doing well. Hopefully we'll be doing better when we do our draft here in a few minutes than we did at the Masters, where we all whiffed on Rory McIlroy because none of us thought he could win it back-to-back years, and he did. Oops. Looking for a little better performance here at the PGA Championship. Let's start with the course they're competing at. I looked it up because I was not familiar with it. It turns out there have been some big tournaments there. Not in a while. It's not exactly on the front burner, but it's not unknown either. What is distinctive about this place, which I can't pronounce? Aronimink?
Aronimink.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a silent N.
Apparently.
Aronimink.
All right, Aronimink.
Yeah. So it's a great golf course. They've extended it out to 7,400 yards. It's amazing in that you have a lot of options off the tee to be able to get different clubs as far as driver or iron, kind of getting yourself into position. But the golf course really shapes up to a second shot players course, and so it's amazing. The greens have a lot of slope and a lot of undulation. It's very reminiscent of Augusta National. But the second shots into the greens are primarily what's going to be important for a lot of players on this golf course. Also, there's a lot of complexes as far as bunkering is concerned on the golf course. And so when I was talking about being in the right position off the tee, a lot of guys can hit it over those, like Rory and some of the other guys that hit a long way. That gives them a lot shorter shots in the green. So some people are going to have to lay up the back a little bit further, and some are going to take advantage of their length. So 173 bunkers on this golf course, and it's going to be a great test.
Jordan Spieth is in a unique situation. You know, you ask him one more tournament to win, you win one more, he would choose the PGA because he lacks that. And you look at it, and it's very similar to Rory. They won a lot early, and then it's been a big drought. And then Rory obviously got his last year and gets another one this year. What do you think about Jordan, who is sort of out there but really hasn't made a name for himself to follow up what he had been doing about a decade ago?
Well, you know, that's kind of interesting is that Jordan Spieth does have a chance to get the career Grand Slam, just as Scotty Scheffler had a chance to get it the next major championship at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Jordan Spieth has not played great. He's shown some good play so far this year, but doesn't have a top 10. So, you know, is he going to resurrect his game from a decade ago and be able to have an opportunity to win this week? I don't know that. But the great thing about Jordan Spieth is he has the opportunity to do this for the rest of his career on the PGA Tour. And one of these weeks, if it's this week or not, one of these weeks, he's going to have an opportunity and get himself into contention and have an opportunity to close it out and get a PGA championship.
This is the week, and you're going to pick him number one, aren't you? You're just sandbagging right now. I can see it.
Number one?
Oh, yeah. You have total faith in him, don't you?
Spieth you're talking about?
Oh,
no,
absolutely.
I'm not going to pick him number one.
No.
Sneaky third pick then. You're sandbagging.
Everybody's doubting him. I can relate to Jordan. Everybody's doubting him. Nobody believes in him. He's a bum. That's what they think of me.
Not at all.
There was a time that the PGA was famous for basically unheard of guys or guys who hadn't been playing well got it together and won it.
First-timers, yeah.
Yeah, and Spieth, to a certain degree, fits that, right? He wouldn't be a first-timer because he won, but it's a decade ago, so there's a certain parallel there. But lately, the players who've won, they've largely been pretty high up in the official world golf rankings, and he's not. So do you view that, and especially the way the course sets up and the way the tour is going right now, does it have to be somebody who's elite in this tournament? Because that is largely how it's been going lately.
Well, I think the elite guys are definitely going to have a better chance of it. But Jordan is one of the things he prides himself on is his short game and his putting. And Jordan will do well on these greens just because of the opportunity that he's going to have to make putts, what he's going to be able to do around the greens. And then he is a great shot maker for second shots. So I think that's going to help him out quite a bit.
Why is the career Grand Slam such a big deal as opposed to if I told Jordan, hey, you could win this or you could win 3 more Masters, it seems like he would take this.
Well, it's an exclusive club. There's only 6 guys that have done the career Grand Slam ever. And not even Arnold Palmer did it. So it's kind of the holy grail as far as players are concerned to get the career Grand Slam. It means you played well in each one of the majors and that you've had an opportunity to win and play against the best fields and win each one of the majors. And so, yeah, he would like to win 3 more Masters, no doubt about it. You know, he's got 1 under his belt right now, but this is the one that he wants to get. And you saw Rory McIlroy last year when he finally clipped off the last one at the Masters, how he fell to his knees and kind of emotionally broke down. It means a lot to these guys, and to finally get it, Rory, then it's just a huge milestone. So I think he would take this one first, and then he'd probably try to clip off the next 3 with the Masters.
Is it just that whole notion of these championships and the courses? I mean, the U.S. Open course is very different than the Open Championship on a link-style course, and the Masters is different than both of them. So it's just showing off what a complete game you have.
Yeah, it is. And each one of them has their different abilities. I mean, at Augusta, you need more of an all-around game. You need to putt well. You need to pitch well. All that kind of thing. U.S. Open, you want to hit fairways and you want to hit greens, and you're not going to be making a ton of birdies. But it's a golf tournament where they're trying to not only get you to get all your 14 clubs dirty, but they're trying to mentally tax you with your gray matter in between your ears. You know, an Open Championship, you just try to survive the elements because that's what keeps scores lower or higher, because when the elements and the wind and everything is happening there on link style type of golf courses, that's what makes the golf tournament more difficult. When there's no wind, those guys play really, really well over there. And then a PGA Championship, it's kind of an adaptation of all of the U.S. Open and the Masters, in that it still tests your game depending on where they're competing at, but it's a little bit easier on the mental psyche to be able to win a major. Even and having said that, majors are tough playing against the best players in the world. So it's just one of the top 4, and it's a great one to have a feather in your cap.
You talk about getting your 14 clubs dirty. What I noticed watching the Truist last week was, man, these guys look like they have brand new shoes every time they play. Is there a requirement? Because those things are shiny.
Well, I don't know that they're brand new. They may have worn them a few rounds or something like that, but I always found when I put on a brand new pair of shoes, I got blisters. So everybody's wearing the best stuff that each one of their sponsors is putting out there, and they color coordinate their outfits and their shoes and everything. It's all planned for them that they're going to wear these certain outfits these certain days, and so. It doesn't surprise me that their shoes look that new.
All right, let's get to it, Bob. It's time for our draft. Who do you want to take? Now, we've got the new rule this year that you can't draft somebody in multiple tournaments, and you took Cameron Young, Bryson DeChambeau, and you also took Gutterup last time with the Masters. We talked about this, Bob. You know this. Don't go, what?
No, wait a second. I'm looking at the draft that you sent out to us.
Yeah.
And I took Rory, Colin Morikawa, and Sepp Straka.
No, you didn't.
Did not.
Not in 2026. You took Cam Young, and I was going to take Cam Young. You're
I guess
a
that was the
cheater,
wrong
man.
list,
You're freaking Patrick Reed. That's who you are.
Whoa!
Okay, so I took Cameron Young. Who did I take again?
DeChambeau and Goddard.
Cameron Young, DeChambeau, and Goddard.
Yes, and we have the regional assignments, which is I'm still getting the short end of the stick. I got Brooks Koepka because I'm skinny now, apparently. John Rahm
No,
for
'cause you're
PK.
buff.
Yeah, that's right. And Xander Schauffele for you. So because the
We can
San
change him
Diego-
up.
Well,
I'm
Okay,
Irish.
well,
I
you know
got
what?
Rory.
I'm going to take Roars this one.
you're taking Rory out of the gate.
I'm taking Rory.
All right.
Number 1.
Well, then I'll take Cam.
Oh, you fetcher.
All right, PK, who do you want?
Well, now I got to regroup.
You got to regroup with Rory and Cam gone.
Oh, my gosh. My God. I'm going to go Fleetwood. I'm going all
Really?
foreign this time. Yeah, I'm going all foreign. I just decided.
Okay.
I almost wrote.
Then I'm going to
I almost typed
John
down.
Rahm.
No, John Rahm's his regional pick. You can't have Rahm.
Dang it.
I almost put down Mick Fleetwood. I always do that. Tommy, I got it right. Thank you.
Say women. They will
Okay.
come and they will go.
Just mess that up.
I'm going to take J.J. Spawn.
JJ
Warren
Spahn.
Spawn's a better pick. He had one shot in the dark.
Warren Spawn, listen to you.
Do people even know who that is?
Some old-time pitcher. Well, like 900 games.
Left-handed. Yeah, lefty-handed.
He
Warren
threw,
Spahn.
he threw left.
Did
He
he
was a
pitch from like
southpaw.
the 30s to the 50s or something?
Yeah, I mean, you're classic. Anybody know who it is? And then you name 5 things about him. You're a nerd.
Well, I know. That's why I said, does anybody else know? I didn't say I didn't know. You take J.J. Spawn. All right, then I am going to go Matty Fitz.
Oh, I said I was taking all foreign.
You took Matt
you can take his
Fitzpatrick
brother,
round 1 of the Masters. You can't take him, so stop your whining.
You got me there.
Take his brother.
You know, I thought about taking Big Al. And you were so against him being able to do it, and then look, he almost won the thing last week. Come on, Bob,
I know he
get
played
off your
extremely
high
well.
horse.
How about him? How about that guy? He wins with his brother.
Yeah,
Then he finishes 9th at Doral, finishes 4th last week. He's made almost $3 million now on the PGA Tour.
and
in
you
3
didn't even
events.
think he should be there. You thought it was unfair. He was
I
just
did
riding
not.
his
I didn't
brother's
say that.
coattails. You thought it.
I did.
Are you taking Big Al?
I thought it.
Yes. Welcome to my world, Bob.
Okay.
Welcome to my world.
Who you taking?
Justin Rose.
Oh, I already typed in
Okay,
Big Al.
that's a good pick because he won there in 2010.
I told you I'm going all foreign.
Okay, and then I'm gonna follow up with Spieth.
You are taking him. I knew you were sandbagging.
Yeah,
I knew it.
You said my 3rd pick.
I knew you
He
were
did
sandbagging.
call it. He said it.
Yeah. Bum, bum, bum.
Come on, DJ.
Yeah, I'm growing old here.
I'm thinking about whether I should use him now, but I think I'm going to hold on to him.
Go ahead. You
No.
want Scheffler.
I was thinking I'm going to pick him off in the 3rd round.
Well, I get first pick at the U.S. Open,
Come on.
and he's a lock for number 1.
Oh, yes. You better take him now. Take him now. Come on.
Akshay Patel.
Hey, he's playing well. Hey, DJ.
Yeah.
DJ, here's a stat for you. His last 3 events, he has finished second.
Yeah, I know.
And that hasn't been done since 2014.
I don't know. I just got a bad feeling. I don't know what it is.
You got a bad feeling about Scheffler?
I do. I don't know what it is.
Well, what about Meredith and Bennett? How do you think they feel?
Meredith and Bennett. I'm going to go with Morikawa. I'm going to go call him Morikawa.
Really? He's had a hurt back all year.
And
Yeah, but he's getting healthier, and he's played well with the hurt back.
Okay.
Third
So who do you
round is
got
for a
your
flyer.
Euro now?
Third round's for a flyer. I'm taking a flyer. You took Spieth. We're taking flyers here, Bob.
Yep, that's right.
I'll go Oberg.
There you go.
All
I knew that one
foreign.
was coming.
Wait, who did you take? Yak was talking to me. I couldn't hear.
Oberg.
Oh, Ludwig.
I said I go all foreign.
Okay.
I'm getting the guy who lives in Oklahoma City. He's all foreign. Or Stillwater, I guess.
Hey, that Oklahoma State Cowboys is a legend.
You took two guys I've taken a lot, and they've been close, but they've never done it for me, in Ludwig and Justin Rose. I've picked them so many times, and they're going to come through for you. I can feel it.
Justin Rose is getting up there in age, but what the heck?
I know, but I had him at the Masters a year ago, and he finished second. He was right there.
You can taste it
Are
almost.
you saying he's long in the teeth?
He is old by PGA Tour standards.
Oh,
but
yeah. Was he 45?
Yeah, but he is playing. He's playing really well. He's always in the mix.
Oh, he's playing great
He's
golf.
playing great. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, there we go, Bob. Are you taking off to go? Or are you going to sit one out for once?
I'm sitting one out. BT's going back.
Oh, okay. All right.
But we'll both be at the U.S. Open.
There you go. All right, Bob, well, we appreciate it. Bob Casper and Brian Taylor's appearances all week long are brought to you by Mountain America Credit Union, Mountainland Supply, Black Desert Resort, Hoops Vision, and Uinta Golf. Bob and Brian will be on every show all week long, updating us on the PGA Championship. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 the KSL Sports, and we got to take a break. Top of the hour, talking to Kristen Peak, NBA.com, and Hoops headquarters contributor. Stay with us, DJ and PK, it's 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeComb.
Why is BYU not coming to Logan? It's great that they're playing BYU, but why is there no return trip? Getting this rivalry just on the books in some way, shape, or form is huge. For Utah State, they need quad one games. In the landscape of college basketball, it would not surprise me one bit if Utah State called up Kentucky or called up Kansas. And I wouldn't surprise me one bit if Kentucky's like, sure, hold please, click. Kansas, click. Because I don't think these teams are interested in building other teams' resumes, especially G5 resumes.
The bottom line is the power schools have always and definitely currently hold the cards. For BYU to work with Utah State and get 2 dates on the calendar in today's basketball world, I mean, it's definitely a win. It's a win for both. It's a win for the state. I wish last year they were on the schedule.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty G and the coach, Tim LeComb, Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Tim Dolly Mazda at 10785 South Auto Mall Drive in Sandy. We're going to talk with Kristen Peak coming up in our next segment, NBA.com and Hoops HQ contributor about the draft. Now, with the lottery coming out Sunday, there's been a lot of analysis. You seen anything that catches your eye about this? Any info you see, hot takes, analysis that you start leaning some way?
In terms of just pure talent, and pure is a big word in our community because that's how we rationalize Stockton over Magic, right? I think that there's a growing sentiment that Darren Peterson is the best pure talent. And I think a lot of it is just the fluid nature when you watch him. So smooth. And his shot.
Effortless. When he's got it going, it's easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. And I think that's growing in that direction. But, you don't want to go too much for fit as opposed to best player. But you have to factor in fit a little bit.
Why?
Because, for Washington, they got Trae Young.
Yep.
And Trae Young has the ball in his hands, shoots a ton, has never won anything, shoots a ton, and so does Darren Peterson become a little neutered. Now, you made the big trade to get Young, and so now you're going to ask Young to take a back seat to this 19, 20-year-old? So I'm trying to think of what Washington would be thinking. So I don't think you can totally ignore fit. You just can't blow it off and say, no, we're going who we think is, and a lot of it, too, is potential. What I'm talking about right now is Darren Peterson might be the best pure talent today, but where's it going to be at 25? And if Dybantsa improves on his perimeter shooting, which I think he can, especially another guy I was talking to, you look what Dybantsa did last year. Just like take the Texas game, for instance, right? I'm sitting there courtside. I mean, he's only got one other guy who's a 6-footer who's any threat whatsoever, any threat. And Dybantsa still goes for 35. They asked Sean Miller in his walk-off interview, what are you going to do to get Dybantsa under control? And he says, I don't think we can. He's giving up. Now, they were able to say that with a level of confidence we can still win the game because the other portions of the team are so weak that you can withstand his onslaught. But he's able to get 35 relatively easily. He's only 1 for 9 from 3 in that game with very little help from anybody else. So that says something there. And Dybantsa seems like he's a fit anywhere. But if you think Peterson is the best player, but you got Young over here, and he's going to dominate the ball, are you better off going with Dybantsa and rebuffing all the Jazz offers? Because I think when it comes down to it, I can't quite go Godfather and say the Jazz will make an offer that the Wizards can't refuse, but I believe they'll come really close. And if they want to, they can.
Well, yes, they've got enough assets. You're right. If they want to, they can. Now, it could be the point just overpaying and they just totally lopsided deal. And that's what you were thinking yesterday when you immediately put 4 players on hold. Nope. Don't even think about it.
That's today. Check back in 3 weeks.
See, the thing is, we can talk about this all, but I just can't believe anything. Everybody needs a deadline. Nothing happens quickly. It's a poker game.
All right, but I still left 3 weeks to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this thing will be developing. And if you want a little nugget, there were so many teams that came out to Provo to watch Dybantsa in person, and the Wizards GM never made it to Provo. Now, of course, the number one team who saw Dybantsa play the most.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we know who they are. It's just a drive. And I don't know, does DA live down there? He may be a shorter drive since he hangs out, has his own locker at Riverside. I don't have my own locker at Riverside.
He does live in Provo.
Yeah, he lives in. So I mean, why wouldn't you go to those games? It's a lot closer than driving up here all the way. So and then you're a fan of the team, and that's your alma mater, and plus you're working there because you're bringing in players in the Big 12 that you need to see anyway. So it makes sense. This is the most intriguing draft in Jazz history. Don't even think of arguing. Don't even try.
I was going back to the 80s.
No. Because you don't necessarily decide. You don't get to decide one player, but then you have to make a big time decision. Before, when you were drafting the statues, other teams made stupid decisions, and so then you just took who was available. That's not going to be the case. Plus, if you want to make an offer they can't refuse, you can, and you can get number one. And if Dybantsa wants to go number one, it's such a big deal, then just have the Wizards draft him number one and trade him. You were drafted number one. Everybody's happy.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Well, Kristen's got to reschedule. She's at the NBA Combine. She's got to do an interview, so Yak will reschedule her. DJ PK, more in a moment right here on The Zone.